It starts simply enough. A ringing phone. But this is no ordinary call. This is a call that will haunt your dreams. A call that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about reality. This is the story of the landline that calls itself. A story that blurs the lines between the living and the dead. The phone rings and rings. And when you finally answer, you hear a voice. Your voice. But it's not you speaking. It's a voice from beyond the grave. Could this be a simple case of a miswired phone line, a technological glitch in the matrix? Or is it something more sinister, something that defies logic and reason? Experts are baffled. They have no explanation for how a phone can call itself, no rational answer for the voice on the other end of the line. But the calls persist, each one more terrifying than the last, each one a chilling reminder that we are not alone in this world. Some believe the calls are a harbinger of doom, a warning from the other side, a sign that something evil is coming. Others believe it's a desperate attempt at communication from a trapped soul, a soul lost in the ether, trying to find its way home. But whatever the truth may be, one thing is for sure, the calls are real, and they're coming from somewhere. Our story takes us to the heart of small-town America, a place where life moves at a slower pace, a place where neighbors know each other by name and doors are left unlocked at night. It's a place where life is simple, predictable, a place where nothing out of the ordinary ever really happens. But this peaceful facade hides a dark secret, a secret that lurks in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Section 2, The Patterson Family. Meet the Pattersons. John, the hard-working father, Mary, the loving mother, and their two beautiful children, Billy and Sarah. They were the picture-perfect family, living the American dream in their cozy two-story home, their home, a place of love, laughter, and unwavering happiness, or so it seemed. Section 3, The Unsettling Discovery. It all started when the Pattersons moved into their new home, an old charmer with good bones and a rich history. They were excited to start their new chapter in this charming abode, unaware of the darkness that lay dormant within its walls. Among the boxes and furniture, they found an old rotary phone tucked away in the attic, a relic of a bygone era. They decided to hook it up, curious to see if it still worked. Little did they know this simple act would unleash a nightmare. Section 4, Whispers Turn to Screams. At first it was just a whisper, a faint ringing in the dead of night, easy to dismiss as a trick of the mind. But the ringing became more persistent, more insistent, as if something was trying desperately to reach them. And then it happened. John answered the call, and the voice on the other end of the line sent a chill down his spine. Days turned into weeks. The calls continued. Always at night, always the same eerie ring. John became withdrawn, haunted by the voice on the other end of the line, his own voice, begging for help. Mary tried to be supportive, but fear had a way of eroding even the strongest bonds. The phone became a source of terror, a constant reminder of the unknown. Frustrated and desperate, John contacted the phone company. Technicians arrived, scratched their heads. They checked the lines, the wiring, everything appeared normal. Their verdict? Nothing wrong with the phone or the line, a technical impossibility. They left as baffled as they came, leaving the Pattersons alone with their nightmare. Word spread through the small town like wildfire. The Patterson story became a cautionary tale. Neighbours who once offered friendly smiles now averted their gaze. Whispers followed them like shadows. The house, once a symbol of hope, became a place of fear, a place to avoid. The town held its breath, trapped in a web of fear and uncertainty. John, desperate for answers, began his own investigation, digging into the history of the house. He uncovered a dark past, a family tragedy, a fire that claimed the lives of the previous owners, their voices silenced by the flames, their souls trapped within the walls of the house. Could they be trying to communicate, to warn him? But warn him about what? News of the Pattersons' plight spread like wildfire, dividing the once peaceful town. Skeptic scoffed, dismissing the calls as a hoax, a figment of John's frayed nerves. Others, however, believed, their hearts heavy with a sense of dread and a growing unease. The house became a lightning rod for controversy, a battleground between logic and the unexplainable. The town held its breath, caught in the grip of a mystery that threatened to unravel the fabric of their reality. Determined to find answers, John sought help from two very different sources. Dr. Richard Beckett, a renowned professor of parapsychology, approached the case with scientific rigor. Madame Evangeline, a local mystic, claimed to possess a rare gift, the ability to communicate with the spirit world. Two individuals, poles apart in their beliefs, united by a shared desire to unravel the truth. The stage was set for a clash between science and the supernatural. Madame Evangeline's voice was barely a whisper. Her eyes, closed tight, seemed to pierce the veil of the unknown. She spoke of trapped souls, of a family unable to find peace. Their voices, she claimed, were reaching out through the phone lines. Their message? A warning, a plea for help. Don't let it happen again. The words hung in the air, heavy with sorrow and danger. The air crackled with unseen energy. Dr. Beckett, ever the skeptic, proposed a séance, a controlled environment to test Madame Evangeline's claims. He set up his equipment, cameras and microphones, determined to capture any unusual activity. The atmosphere was thick with tension. The air hummed with anticipation. Madame Evangeline closed her eyes and began to chant. Her voice, a low monotone, seemed to draw power from the darkness. And then it happened. A sudden gust of wind ripped through the room, extinguishing the candles and plunging the séance into darkness. The air grew heavy, difficult to breathe, as if an unseen force had descended upon them. A high-pitched whining noise filled the air, seeming to emanate from the very walls of the house. Panic gripped the participants as the temperature plummeted. The smell of damp earth and burning wood permeated the air, a gruesome harbinger of something terrible. The whining intensified, transforming into an ear-splitting shriek that seemed to claw at the edges of their sanity. Dr. Beckett, his equipment malfunctioning, could only stare in disbelief as the laws of physics seemed to bend and break around them. Even his scientific mind couldn't rationalize the sheer power of the force that had invaded the room. Madame Evangeline, her face contorted in a mask of fear and determination, continued to chant, her voice a beacon of light against the encroaching darkness. She was their only hope, their only link to the spirit realm and whatever terrifying entity they had awakened. And then, above the chaos, the familiar sound that had haunted John's dreams. It was a sound he had hoped never to hear again, a sound that brought with it memories of terror and despair. The shrieking stopped abruptly. replaced by an eerie silence that was shattered by the insistent ringing of the old rotary phone. The sound was jarring, cutting through the night like a knife. It was as if the spirits had found a new conduit, a new channel through which to communicate their desperate message. The air grew colder, and the fog seemed to thicken around them. All eyes turned towards the phone, its black bakelite surface gleaming ominously in the darkness. It seemed to pulse with a life of its own, drawing everyone's attention. The ringing seemed to echo in the silence, amplified by the fear that hung heavy in the air. Each ring was a reminder of the unknown, a call from the abyss. John felt a cold dread grip his heart, a primal instinct that warned him against answering the call. His mind raced with the possibilities of what could be on the other end. But before John could react, one of the other participants, a young woman whose eyes were glazed over as if in a trance, reached for the phone. Her movements were slow, almost mechanical. Her voice, a hollow whisper, sent chills down their spines as she spoke into the receiver. "Hello? Who's there?" The words seemed to hang in the air, unanswered. John lunged forward, desperate to stop her, but he was too late. His heart pounded in his chest as he reached out in vain. The phone slipped from her lifeless fingers and clattered to the floor, the dial tone buzzing mockingly in the silence. It was a sound that seemed to mock their helplessness. The young woman slumped back in her chair, her face as pale as death, her breath coming in shallow gasps. The group watched in horror, unsure of what to do next. "She's alive, but barely," Dr. Beckett said, his voice husky with shock. "She's in some kind of shock. I've never seen anything like it." He looked around the room, his gaze lingering on the phone as if it were a dangerous animal. What happened in there? What did she see? John could only shake his head, his throat too dry to form words. He had no answers, only a growing sense of dread that threatened to consume him. The phone, once an object of curiosity, had become a symbol of terror, a direct line to a realm he never wanted to face. "It's not natural," Madame Evangeline said, her voice hoarse. "The spirits, they're angry, they're trapped, unable to move on, and they blame us." Dr. Beckett, his usual scientific detachment shaken, stood there for a moment, caught between his skepticism and the unexplainable events he had just witnessed. He began packing up his equipment, his movements automatic, his mind racing. Could this be real? Could the laws of physics, the very foundations of his worldview, be so easily dismissed? As the first rays of dawn crept through the windows, casting long, eerie shadows across the room, John knew he had no choice but to face the truth. The spirits were real, and they were desperate to communicate. But what were they trying to tell him? And how could he help them find peace before it was too late? He looked at Madame Evangeline, her face etched with exhaustion, but her eyes burning with a steely determination. "We need to help them," he said, his voice firm despite the tremor that ran through him. "We need to find out what happened in this house, what's trapping them here." Madame Evangeline nodded, her gaze never leaving the old rotary phone. "The answers lie in the past," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "We need to uncover the truth, no matter how terrifying it may be." And so began a race against time, a desperate search for answers in the heart of a haunted house. John knew that the fate of his family, and perhaps even his own soul, hung in the balance. The haunting calls ceased as abruptly as they began, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and an unsettling silence that echoed the home's emptiness. The once lively rooms now stood as hollow shells, filled only with the memories of what had transpired. John Patterson, forever marked by the experience, moved his family out of the house, hoping to leave the past behind. But the memory of those chilling calls continued to haunt him. Every creak of a floorboard, every unexpected ring of a phone brought back the terror of those nights. Was it a technological glitch, a cruel prank, or something far more sinister? The questions gnawed at him, refusing to let go. The mystery remained, a cold whisper in the back of his mind, a puzzle with pieces that never quite fit together, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of their ordinary lives. The family photo, once a symbol of happiness, now seemed to carry a shadow. Dr. Beckett, his scientific worldview shaken to its core, continued to analyze the data he had collected during the séance, poring over every detail, searching for a rational explanation that remained elusive. The more he delved into the data, the more questions arose. The readings, the voices captured on his recordings, defied all logic and pointed towards a realm he had always dismissed as superstition. The experience left him questioning the boundaries of reality, the thin veil that separated the world of the living from the realm of the dead. The more he thought about it, the more he realized how little he truly understood about the world. The thin veil that separated the world of the living from the realm of the dead. It was a line he had never thought to cross, yet now it seemed all too real. Madame Evangeline, her connection to the spirit world stronger than ever, believed that the spirits had found a measure of peace, their message delivered, their story told. But she couldn't shake the feeling that their presence lingered, a subtle energy woven into the fabric of the house, a silent reminder of the tragedies that had unfolded within its walls. The house seemed to breathe with the weight of its past, a subtle energy woven into the fabric of the house, a silent reminder of the tragedies that had unfolded within its walls, a silent reminder of the tragedies that had unfolded within its walls. She knew that some secrets, some wounds, ran too deep to ever truly heal. She knew that some secrets, some wounds, ran too deep to ever truly heal. The house, with its boarded windows and overgrown garden, stood as a testament to that. The town, once divided by skepticism and fear, slowly began to heal, but the memory of the haunting calls lingered like a ghost story whispered around campfires, a cautionary tale passed down through generations. The house remained empty, a silent sentinel overlooking the town, a constant reminder of the mysteries that lay hidden beneath the surface of their seemingly ordinary lives. A silent sentinel overlooking the town, a constant reminder of the mysteries that lay hidden beneath the surface of their seemingly ordinary lives. A constant reminder of the mysteries that lay hidden beneath the surface of their seemingly ordinary lives. The town would never forget, and the house would never let them. The story of the haunting calls, fueled by eyewitness accounts and Dr. Beckett's leaked recordings, spread beyond the confines of the small town, capturing the imagination of the public. The eerie nature of these calls, combined with the mystery surrounding their origin, created a perfect storm of intrigue and fear, and igniting a media frenzy. Paranormal investigators descended upon the town, eager to explore the house and document any residual energy. Their findings, often contradictory and inconclusive, only deepened the mystery, adding fuel to the fire of speculation. Some claimed to have captured ghostly apparitions on film, while others dismissed these as mere tricks of the light. The house became a pilgrimage site for thrill-seekers and believers, drawn to its dark history and the lingering possibility of encountering the supernatural. But the spirits, if they still resided within the walls, remained silent, their voices stilled and their stories told. The house stood as a silent monument to the unknown, a place where the boundaries of reality blurred. It became a symbol of the mysteries that lie just beyond our understanding, and the line between the living and the dead seemed to disappear. The atmosphere around the house was thick with an unspoken tension, a palpable sense of the otherworldly. Writers and filmmakers, inspired by the chilling tale, sought to capture the essence of the haunting calls, weaving fictional accounts that explored the themes of lost grief and the thin veil that separated the world of the living from the realm of the dead. The story, in its many forms, served as a cautionary reminder of the power of the unknown, the mysteries that lay hidden in the shadows of our everyday lives. It was a tale that resonated deeply with those who had ever felt the chill of the unexplained. And so, the legacy of the haunting call lived on not just in the annals of paranormal investigation, but in the hearts and minds of those who dared to believe that some mysteries are best left unsolved, some doors best left unopened. The story served as a chilling reminder that some secrets, some stories, refused to be silenced, echoing through time, whispering their truths to those who dared to listen. The haunting calls, though now a part of legend, continued to inspire fear and fascination, a testament to the enduring power of the unknown. The next time your phone rings and you glance at the caller ID, only to find an unknown number staring back at you, take a moment to remember the haunting calls. Remember that some mysteries defy explanation, that some stories refuse to be silenced. Remember that the line between our world and the next is not as solid as we might believe, and that sometimes the whispers we hear in the dead of night are not figments of our imagination, but echoes of something far more profound, far more unsettling. The haunting calls serve as a chilling reminder that we are not alone, that the past has a way of reaching out to us, and that some secrets, some stories, are destined to haunt us long after the last call has been disconnected. Don't let it happen again.